In the late 1920s and 1930s, Al Capone captured the headlines that would eventually make for good storylines on the big screen, where for decades America has become fascinated with organized crime.
You got an all-out prize fight, you wait till the fight's over, one guy's left standing, and that's how you know who won.
But how could the Capone machine be so well organized from day one? Art Bielek is a former mob investigator in Cook County and writes about mob history.
I noticed that the mob, when Prohibition came in, was ready to go. There were members, there was power, they had some kind of a plan. And I thought, whoops, something had happened before that.
That beginning was Jim Colosimo. He came from Colosimo, Italy to the United States in 1891. He lived near 22nd and Wabash in the midst of taverns and brothels. A young Jim Colosimo saw that as a golden opportunity to make it in America, especially since Chicago's police and politicians didn't seem too concerned about prostitution.
City officials thought it was good for economic development and attracted businessmen from around the world. So instead of trying to eliminate prostitution, city officials tried to control it by setting up vice districts.
The vice district where Colosimo grew up was called the Levee and stretched from Clark to Wabash, 19th to 22nd.
We had colorful madams, colorful brothel keepers, colorful tavern owners, and it was just an exciting, fun time.
And it was certainly a profitable time for Jim Colosimo. His natural ability to lead and persuade caught the attention of local politicians in the First Ward, like Bathhouse John Coughlin and Hinky Dink Kenna, who made Big Jim an assistant precinct captain. Together, they secured the power to prosper from the whorehouses and gambling joints.
They made a marriage that was legitimatized in hell. It had all been running as an individual operation. Big Jim is the one that solidified it and put it together because Bathhouse John and Hinky Dink wanted a political action machine of voters that they could turn out on election day.
Everyone from the bartenders and gamblers to the prostitutes and madams provided a power base for politicians and profits for Big Jim. There were picketers who protested the brothels and preachers who prayed in the streets, but their sermons never gained much traction with the general public or City Hall. Colosimo was worth, in today's money, $10 million at his peak in 1914, but that's when his fortunes turned. He and his associates plotted to kill an honest police inspector who was conducting raids on the levee. It led to a shootout near 22nd and Wabash. Undercover cop Sergeant Stanley Burns was gunned down by other undercover officers. It was a case of mistaken identity. Finally, no amount of political influence could protect Big Jim and his operations.
That was the beginning of the end of the levee.
At this time, Colosimo's associates were trying to capitalize on Prohibition, but Big Jim's interest had changed. He opened a restaurant at 21st and Wabash, Colosimo's. A young comic named Maury Amsterdam emceed acts, and a young singer named Dale Winter got her start here. Colosimo left his wife for the singer, and they married in 1920.
That was Colosimo's life's goal, was to become an accepted, important Italian citizen in Chicago.
But his crime associates felt Big Jim had lost his focus. When he returned from his honeymoon, he was shot in the back of the head in the foyer of his restaurant. The murder was never solved, but many believed it was orchestrated by his second-in-command, Johnny Torrio, the man who would eventually bring Al Capone to Chicago. The outfit has continued operations for about 90 years, although crime historian Jeff Thurston says they finally learned not to attract so much attention.
In many ways, it's gone back to the roots it used to have, and that has gone undercover. It was, last time it was like this was probably in the mid-1930s when they simply just disappeared from the news. They were reorganizing, and I'm sure that's what they're doing right now since the recent Family Secrets case.
An organization pioneered by Jim Colosimo. The Tribune called him the overlord of Chicago's underworld. He is buried here in this mausoleum in Oakwood Cemetery. His dreams of becoming an acceptable Italian citizen in America cut short by a way of life he helped prosper as the grandfather of the Godfathers. Larry Potash, WGN News.